Hi everybody. I am going to use a script tonight. So if you hang with me at the end, I'll tell you how you can get the script because we're going to talk about some pretty meaty things. All right. So I suffer from Tooism. Tooism. So Tooism means I turn everything into a reason to not take care of myself. I'm too tired. I'm too short on time. I've got too many assignments, too many chores, too cold, too hot, too sick, too emotional, and on and on and on it rolls. Hi, I'm Tish. Just a regular gal on a journey to recover my health. I make these videos as a way to help me think about what went wrong, what went right, and how to control the controllables. Not everything is within my control. So, Tooism is a condition of the mind that comes on slowly in the younger years when life is so fast-paced, when we're having a great time in our teens, 20s, 30s, but its consequences don't show up for 20 or 30 years. So they're not felt until like the 40s or the 50s. And that is excess body fat, hypertension, stiff muscles, back pain, diabetes, and on and on and on it goes. Furthermore, once this negative mindset is entrenched, your life starts to get real sticky and loses the momentum it had. So at that point, it usually starts progressing from Tooism to candiditis, a much more serious condition that causes your life to shrink in every way. So I'm too tired to cook becomes I can't lose weight, then becomes I have diabetes. I'm too short on time to exercise today becomes I can't deal with the people at the gym, which later becomes I had a heart attack at 50. So how do we fight these insidious conditions? Well, number one, we have to challenge these ants, automatic negative thoughts. Yes, I love turning them into bugs. And how do we do that? How do we challenge these ants? Well, we have to ask ourselves questions to find out, why am I saying this to myself to talk me out of taking care of myself? Shouldn't I be saying the opposite? Number one, why am I so tired? Number two, am I working or partying too much? Number three, when was the last time I had a medical checkup? And number four, when is the last time I just went out in nature and breathed or played, relaxed, went to the beach, went to the state park and hiked, anything? Okay, as you gain understanding from questioning yourself, you'll start to see some small changes you can make, but I'm going to talk about a few here that might help you, okay? First of all, let's talk about daytime changes. Number one, you got to increase your activity, but gradually increase it over the course of a week or so. Don't just go from watching 7 hours of TV a day to running a 5K. Okay, that's a recipe for disaster. All right. The brains of active bodies are easier to put to sleep than those of sedentary bodies. Let me say that again. The brains of active bodies are easier to put to sleep than the brains of sedentary bodies. Now just think of toddlers. You've had your toddler strapped in a car seat all day long, driving to grandma's house. And when you get to grandma's house, that kid wants to bounce off the walls, okay? Because they've been sitting, they've probably been sleeping more than they would have normally slept. You can see this with kids of all ages. All right, now you need good sleep in order to feel your best the next day, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys out there are working, and so it's important that you feel your best. So let's talk about scheduling. I've got some scheduling tips for you. The first one is to learn about time blocking for scheduling. It allows you to more accurately see what you have time for and what you don't, and allows you freedom within the time block to do those tasks in any order that you want. Here's talking to you, ASD and ADHD. So if I have a time block for morning routine, a time block for commute, a time block for work, a time block for commute, and a time block for bedtime routine, and I'm trying to add another activity in there, I can see automatically, oh, there's no place to fit it, right? I'm going to have to move some things around. Okay. Don't overload your memory with too many tasks and commitments. Now, this didn't become apparent to me until I had multiple head injuries and started having a lot of memory problems. So, for those of you 20-year-olds out there, you may have a hard time believing this, but your memory has just so many slots. Your working memory has just so many slots. And if you're holding a whole bunch of things that you have to remember to do in your memory, you're taking up slots, which then eventually you're going to run out of slots, and that's when things are going to start getting missed. So we want to put them all, everything that's running around up here that you're trying to hold on to, put it all in a temporary task locker, like a to-do list, Google Tasks. My favorite is Finch. Okay, just get them all out, write them down. All right, then we'll sort them out. Once you do this, it frees up slots up here for your working memory, so then you can focus on other things more easily. All right, now I've written them all down on a piece of paper. Now what? Well, we've got to sort them. There's several different ways to sort them. I'm only going to talk about one. The one that is the most common that time management people teach. We're going to separate them by urgency and importance. So you end up with only 4 categories. It's nice that way. So you have most important and most urgent. In other words, getting the tax ID number for the new business. Then you have important but not urgent. So that would be something like opening bank accounts for the new business, because we have to have the tax ID number first. Then you would have urgent but not important. So that could be something like setting up the YouTube channel for the new business. Then the last category is neither urgent nor important. That could be something like designing t-shirts and other merchandise for the new business. It's something that will be nice when we get it done, but it's not anything that we're looking to get done anytime soon because we have other more important things at stake. Okay. So once you've sorted them, what do? Well, it's time to plan your day. And you want to add margin to your day. What do I mean by margin? Well, if you expect a task is going to take you, let's say, an hour, then schedule 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after as margin. You know, I might be running late, or I might get caught up. Who knows? Just to have, margin, like margins on paper. All right, now why do we do this? Because when you schedule back-to-back events or projects, they doesn't take into account thinking time, prep time, setup time, travel time, getting gas and parking and walking time, teardown time, or just plain old slip-ups that make us late. I forgot my keys, I forgot my beverage, I forgot my wallet, I finally got out of the house on the 4th try. Okay? So we need to build in margin so that we have some buffer for some of these things. Another good recommendation is to believe everything is going to take twice as long as you think. Why is that? Well, let's say taking a shower, for example. Let's say you believe you take a shower in 5 minutes, but everybody in your family is like, oh, no. So you get a clock, and suddenly you realize, oh my gosh, I've been in this bathroom 30 minutes. What happened? Okay, everything takes longer than we think it does, because when we're in the middle of it, our focus is on the thing we're doing. It's not on the passage of time. And then, if you are a neurodiverse brain, like mine, you may or may not experience time the way everyone else does, which can be a problem when you're trying to coordinate things with a team. All right? So, block twice as much time as you think you need. And then here's the beauty of this plan. When you finish early and you have 30 or 40 extra minutes, you get to decide what you're going to do with that 30 or 40 extra minutes. Maybe go to one of the other categories on the list and pick something from that and work on that. Or maybe, I don't know, I guess if you're a girl, you could paint your nails in 30 or 40 minutes. I don't know. The point is, you get to do anything you want with that 30 or 40 minutes. Scroll Instagram. Watch my videos. Send me a message. Anyway, now, the next recommendation for scheduling is to break everything into smaller chunks. Okay, so, instead of a business example, this time we're going to use house chores. So, instead of putting clean house on the schedule and never doing it, try starting with just one room. Clean the bedroom. All right? If that's too difficult, break it down further. Clean the bookcase. If that's too difficult, break it down one more time. Clean one shelf on the bookcase. Why are we doing this? Because, number one, if it's too big, if our mind thinks it takes too long, and we have Tooism or Cantitis as coping skills, our mind is going to tell us, we're going to tell ourselves, I don't have time to do this. I am too short on time. Or I am too tired to do that. Or I am too weak to change the sheets by myself, or whatever. So we want to overcome the Tooism. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, says the smallest habit should take between 2 and 5 minutes to get over the brain's resistance. In other words, the Tooism. Okay? The other thing I want to say is, don't add anything else to the room list until you start making progress. So if dust the dresser or make the bed was too difficult and you moved to just doing one shelf of the bookcase, don't add anything new until you're pretty consistently doing that. Because if you change too many things at once, the brain will go, oh no, this is too much. I've been dealing with that. Okay, now, if your whole environment is messy, which can happen when you have kids or you're running teenagers to and from every which way, or you have a job that keeps you working all the time and you're just exhausted, then listen up, this is for you. So we did the first list for our work tasks, right? Now we're going to make a second list. Just go around the house, make a second list of chores you want to do and how often. Now, you're not doing them yet. We're just making a second list. This is what I'd like to do, and if you're not sure about the frequency, look, there are tons of videos out there about cleaning hacks and habits. There's also chore lists out there that give frequencies, recommended frequencies for cleaning certain things. But really what it boils down to is how often do you want to do that thing? Okay? After you make that list, it's time to schedule it on the calendar. Now, we're only going to schedule one thing at a time. So keep that list in a file somewhere, but one thing at a time. The reason we're putting them on the calendar is because things that don't get scheduled generally don't get done. So I personally I set them up in a task on my calendar and run them that way. That's separate, and then I use the events for scheduling my work activities until I got Finch, and now Finch I have everything in one app. So the other thing I want to remind you is that our brains have this unconscious list, or maybe you're aware it's a conscious list, of everything we own and where it's located to keep track of it. So this accounts for, like, certain people will set up their kitchen one way and then they're happy, and then they get a spouse or a roommate or something like that, and this second person just cannot figure out where things go. It's because they don't have the map of the house in their brain. Now here's the deal. It takes a lot of bandwidth to hold all that stuff in the brain, even if it's unconscious. So consider decluttering. One drawer at a time, a closet at a time, a room at a time, whatever you're capable of, because what that does is that purging and scaling down reduces the number of items that the brain has to keep track of, and then it releases bandwidth back for thinking, which for some of us is really important. All right. Now the last kind of daytime kind of thing that I want to say is make one thing, just one, non-negotiable. Maybe it's walking or sleeping or drinking water, but this one thing is going to eventually become a signal to your brain, oh, today was a good day. I may not have gotten anything else done, but I got my steps done. For me, it's steps. I got my steps done. So it was a good day. It was okay. And what that does, I've noticed, is that has, number one, kept me on track, but number two, it's also given me bumpers, I guess, like bowling with bumpers from getting depressed. I didn't get anything done today, and then getting sad, getting overwhelmed, or whatever, and then using that as an excuse to binge eat. All right, nighttime changes. Number one, you got to dial in on sleep. Aim for 7 to 9 hours. Wake, and not just 7 to 9 hours, but waking up refreshed before your morning alarm clock goes off, okay? And you got to be patient about this, because it takes more time and focus for adults to get good sleep than children. You know, it takes us a lot of practice and signaling to the brain. All right, so you got to understand the sleep partnership. I mentioned early, there's an active partnership between the brain and the body, and it's not, even though we say we want to fall asleep, it's not something that just happens to you. No, you have to actually have a little coordination between the brain and the body, and they both have to trust that they're safe and that it's okay. Be sufficiently tired. There's a lot of things we'll do another video some other time for that. But sleep timing. Now listen, no matter what, make sure your sleep routine starts at least an hour to 2 hours before you want to actually go to sleep. Now, we did this with our children when they were babies. We would start them about an hour before we wanted them to fall asleep. We'd have a bath and we'd read them a book and all that, right? Well, we need that ourselves. So the wind down routine signals the body and the brain, hey, we're winding down, the day is over, it's almost time to shut down. Okay, so I've put together a sample sleep routine. First, take a look at tomorrow's schedule. Yeah, I know, it was a hard one for me to learn, but take a look at it and double check that everything is ready for tomorrow. This will prevent that mad dash in the morning to iron a shirt or to finish a report that was forgotten or to find keys, all of that stuff. Then 15 minutes, 5 to 15 minutes of gentle stretching or yoga. You can do it standing, sitting, you can do it, even do it on the bed. But that helps the body to kind of release tension from the day. Start a mindfulness practice. Okay, mindfulness is paying attention to your body in the environment. The VA has a super well done app called Mindfulness Coach that takes somebody from no understanding of mindfulness to probably, being able to practice alone off app. They take no information, no private information whatsoever. It's completely free. So it's called Mindfulness Coach, and I've been using it for 3 or 4 years. So it's really good. Next thing, count your blessings. Develop a gratitude practice if you don't already have one. Even writing down just one thing a day that you can appreciate or be grateful for can do a world of good over the course of a month. Now, if you like digital, I've been using this app called Presently for about 9 years, and it's also completely free and takes no information, no ads, nothing. But a notebook works just as well. All right, now we're going to turn the screens off at least an hour before bedtime. So far, I have not met that goal. Turn on a sleep frequency like white noise, green noise, pink noise, brown noise, purple noise, whatever you like noise. Okay, take a warm shower or bath. Don't take a cold one. If you want to improve sleep, take the cold one in the morning and take the warm one in the evening, because the cold one is going to wake you up. Okay, now this is the most important one. Read a boring book. Boring. I read Antiquities. Yes, the entire thing. I read it every night for 5 years and was able to get good, consistent sleep. Then I decided I deserved a fun book, and I read the entire Harry Potter series non-stop for like 9 or 10 days in a row, ignoring everything, everyone, including my small kids, and sleep. So everything that I gained over the previous 5 years, I lost in like 2 weeks. Number 9, pray and meditate. So if you believe in God, higher power, spirit of the universe, whatever, if you believe in something greater than yourself, this is a good time to talk to them. I was taught that praying is asking God for things, and meditating is listening for his answer, and that works really well for me. Then once you turn out the light and close your eyes, just rest. Don't fret, just relax, just rest. Maybe focus on your breathing a little bit. If you find yourself tossing and turning and for 20 minutes or more, then get up and try another yoga session or another mindfulness session or read another chapter of that boring book. But do not turn on any screens like TV, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, any of those things, because they're counter to sleep. The blue light will wake you up even more. All right. If you've got something rolling around in your mind that you're just wrestling with, and it's been 20 minutes and you can't go to sleep, write it down. Let the piece of paper or the notebook wrestle with it for the rest of the night. It'll be there for you in the morning. Okay. So this video covered quite a lot, and I left out a whole bunch. So I'm hoping to do a deeper dive into habits and habit stacking when I get back from Europe. Believe it or not, habits are the foundation that our lives are built upon and the scaffolding with which we make change. So we reap the rewards or the consequences of today's habits years from now. That means if you don't like the life you have now, you have to take a look at your Tooism and your Candiditis that developed 10, 20 years ago. You got to look at those ants, those automatic negative thoughts, and challenge them. And you got to take a look at your current lifestyle habits as well. Is there something you can change? Small, consistent changes. In the meantime, if you would like a copy of the script that I deviated from quite a bit, DM Tooism to me, and I will be happy to send you a PDF. Thank you for watching. Knowing that you're out there truly helps me to stay accountable to my goals, to dig deeper for the roots of positive change, and to stay consistent when I really want to quit. So, and as always, don't forget, if you have a friend or family member that you think this information might help, please go right ahead and forward it. Thank you.